everyone, and welcome. My name is Sister Marie Kalinovich, and I'm happy to be able to share some thoughts with you today about a core value of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth, that of recognizing God in the everyday. I'm sure that if you were asked, where do you most frequently encounter God? Your response might be quite similar to those of a majority of people who usually associate the encounter or meeting with God in experiences or in places that we typically perceive as sacred. Perhaps while praying in the stillness and silence of a chapel, or in the sacraments of the church. Maybe it's in the words of Scripture. Less frequently, though, do we grasp the truth that religious experience is interwoven into the texture and fabric of our everyday lives. A few years ago, I stumbled across a simple but very meaningful statement. It is not good to live and work in one world and pray and believe in another. While I don't remember who the author was, I have never forgotten the message. It is not good to live and work in one world and pray and believe in another. And yet, when we reflect on our daily work and life, it may often feel that we do live in one world and work in one world and pray and reflect in another. God, we might think, is somehow too far removed from the experiences of human life. Our family life and our work may seem to be too mundane to be an opportunity for an encounter with the living God. We might think that meeting God requires that we leave the realm of our ordinary human life for some rarefied atmosphere, far beyond all those things that occupy our daily time, attention, and energy. But such an understanding is a mistaken one, and it may cause us to miss the countless experiences and opportunities where God is waiting for us at each moment. The truth is that there are no censored spots in our lives where God cannot be found. No human concern, whether it's a joy or a sorrow, that is beyond God's reach. In the time we have together today, I'd like to focus your attention on the possibility of recognizing God in the everyday. This value is central to the spirituality of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth, and it's also one that can have profound implications on your own life. It is a way of seeing, of living and working, by which you can gradually grow to recognize grace, pervading familiar, ordinary experience. Now, at some time or another, we have all surely known such moments of heightened awareness or deep intensity when we feel ourselves connected to something or someone greater than our small selves and our little world. The experience of immense beauty, deep love, or profound suffering often catapults us into such mindfulness. At other times, we are suddenly aware of something more in an instant. It can happen on a bus, at a grocery store, at a hospital bedside, in a classroom, maybe at your kitchen table, in a meaningful conversation that goes on long into the night, or in a child sleeping peacefully. It might be in a place of spectacular natural beauty, or through a gentle, reverent touch, or as you listen to a stirring piece of music. In such moments, it is as though the world is transparent with the divine. We feel touched by the sacred and are caught up in the grace, the beauty, and the mystery of life. But my guess is that we rarely identify such experiences as an encounter with the holy. Yet, Karl Rahner, who was an eminent theologian of the Second Vatican Council, tells us that what we normally think of as interior religious experience is simply awareness of the life of grace that continually pervades our ordinary existence. Rahner says, in moments such as these, we are just more awake, and we label holy that which unconsciously exists in us all the time. He calls this growth in awareness everyday mysticism. In simpler terms, it is recognizing God or the sacred in the everyday. The conviction that God is close to our human life profoundly influences the spirituality of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth. It is one of our central values on which our understanding of our life and holiness and mission is based, because we believe that holiness can be found in the daily, as it was in the life of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph of Nazareth. Because everything about their lives appeared to be so common, so ordinary, no one guessed that the Son of God lived and walked among them. Mother Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd, the foundress of our religious congregation, was completely captivated by the reality that in the simple life exemplified by the Holy Family of Nazareth, God was simultaneously present in their midst. She stated, "This is how I envisioned the life of the Holy Family. Externally, it was a life of work and duty, freely and joyfully done. But in the depths of the soul, there was the most profound union with God. Jesus, God made flesh for us, was present in Nazareth, just as God is in our lives, precisely where God appears to be absent, in the inconspicuous happenings of every day." When we reflect on this truth, we find ourselves face to face with a reality that is almost too good to be true. The truth that, since the Incarnation, we do not have to look very far to find God. Without our noticing, God quietly and unobtrusively walks among us still, in the cracks and corners of every day, with its common routines and rhythms. You see, holiness is not a supplement to or an addendum to our normal human lives. The divine in our life is normal. For all time, God has pitched his tent in our world, working not above or beyond human history, but right in the middle of it. The deceased American Cardinal Avery Dulles wrote movingly about this mystery. Jesus enables us to believe that human life, with all its contradictions, is the place where God is preeminently to be found. The Incarnation does not provide us with a ladder by which to escape from the ambiguities of this life and scale the heights of heaven. Rather, it enables us to burrow down deep into the heart of planet Earth and find it shimmering with divinity. Now, to act from the conviction that the sacred can be found in the ordinary, and to live a life of faith that permeates every aspect of our existence, is the calling of every Christian. But it is something especially meaningful for anyone who ministers in the tradition of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth. You might wonder, well, why is this so important to us? And how does it affect my work or my ministry? The answer is clear. if we begin with the assumption that since the incarnation, human life is holy, and that God is present in the toss and tumble of the daily, it will radically alter our perspective and behavior. The belief that God is among us changes how we live and interact with others and our universe. If I recognize God right here, present in this person, if I'm convinced that in every situation I'm standing on holy ground, if I accept that I am the hands and feet and voice and touch of God to those I encounter each day, then all my words and all my actions will bear this out. This is how we try to live as sisters, and it's something we ask of you. As you go about your daily work, let compassion, reverence, hospitality, justice, and patience be the hallmark of every encounter. Relate to every person as a brother and sister in Christ, for we are all the family of God. We all deserve dignity and respect. Remember that your work is holy. The mission you share with us is a very sacred undertaking. It's not only important that you recognize God in the everyday. In the multiple interactions of your ordinary day, those to whom you minister ought to be able to encounter God, His goodness, care, and concern in you. So we invite you to this quality of life, and it requires that you cultivate a certain kind of attentiveness and receptivity, one that's really rare and difficult in our busy lives, because distraction and routine can so easily dull our senses to the holiness in our midst. The English poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning understood the numbing unconsciousness in which we human beings frequently walk. Earth's crammed with heaven, she wrote, and every common bush afire with God. But only those who see it take off their shoes. The rest just sit around and pick blackberries. To better grasp the gifts of grace that surround us every moment, we must wake up our senses and attune our hearts and minds to the more beneath the surface of life. As we learn to see with these new eyes, the demands, challenges, and rewards of our ministry will become replete with meaning and purpose. We will do more consciously our part to contribute to the mission of building God's reign in our world, something Mother Foundress, Mother Mary, saw as the grand, overarching purpose of her congregation. Look very carefully then for the face of God hidden in the situations and especially in the people you meet each day, your family and friends, your colleagues at work, in a store clerk, a homeless person on the street corner, those to whom you minister. Listen deeply to hear the strains of mystery, not just in holy-sounding words, but also in the gentle whispers and even in the noise and roar of every day. Pay very reverent attention to the raw material of your own life. In 1,001 ways, the Spirit is blessing you with glimpses of the holy. And so instead of searching for a relationship with God that is one of only abstract theological concepts or exclusively in times of formal prayer, give reverent pause to the currents of life swirling around you at every moment. You will discover that God is present there, embedded in the very heart of our human experience. It is a good practice to ask yourself each day, where have I encountered God today? Ask that question often, because even if you missed it, if you were oblivious to it in the press of the moment, it's still possible on later reflection to claim what you might have otherwise missed. Did you encounter God without knowing it in the support, reassurance, or challenge of a colleague? In a breakthrough maybe with a student grasping a difficult concept, or the exuberance of the young? Did you see God present in the dedication and love of parents, in the quiet wisdom of the elderly, or maybe in the painful suffering of a person enduring a long illness? I encourage you strongly to find some simple ways to help yourself tap into this liturgy of life that is going around every day. Maybe it means getting up a few minutes earlier in the morning to start the day in your favorite chair, praising God as you wait for the sunrise. Perhaps it might be a quiet walk in the woods as you contemplate the beauty and the grandeur of God. Maybe it's keeping a journal or listening to uplifting music. Choose anything that wakes you up and enlivens your spirit, and then practice it. Whatever you can do to nourish the awareness of the sacred all around and within you, don't delay. Do not deprive yourself of this precious, precious gift. You will find God there if you take the time to look. And you will discover that all the places in our lives are sanctuaries. Some of them just happen to have steeples. I would like to close now with a prayer song which speaks of a God who lives in the ordinary nooks and crannies of our lives. My prayer is that the words and images of this song will alert you to the mystery of the holy, of a God who is as near to us as the very air we breathe. Keep your heart and mind and senses open as you fulfill your ministry each day, because you never know when you might meet God coming around the corner. Further, you never know when God might use you, your words, your eyes, your hands, your love, to be the vehicle for another person's encounter with the holy.
Earth's creator, everyday God, loving maker, Lord Jesus, you who shaped us, O Spirit, recreate us, come be with us, in your presence, everyday God, we are gathered, Lord Jesus.
stay.